This is an IRB review tutorial. This is not the SRC review tutorial, but if you're an IRB member, I'm going to walk you through the process to show you how we review a project. The first thing we want to do is go to signtier.com and log in. Enter our username and password. This will bring us to our dashboard. Now, if I don't have any other roles, I'm only an IRB member, I will come straight to this dashboard. It could be if you have other roles that you need to choose, you need to make sure over here in your role chooser that you're on the correct dashboard. So we'll look at IRB member AAA high school. That's where I want to be. And that's our page here. So it's pretty straightforward. We have a red box on the left, a green box on the right. On the left are projects that are waiting for our signature. On the right hand side we have projects that we have already reviewed and approved. Notice I don't have any on the right hand side. I haven't reviewed any yet. So I've got a fake student and a fake school and a fake IRB member, and we're going to walk through a review. So if I have anything in my queue, I will see the number here. So there's one project waiting for my review. I will click more info. It will take me to a list of those projects. Here I have the title of the project and I have the review status. Now here it says the IRB educator has already approved this and the school administrator has already approved this. I'm logged in as a human risk evaluator and I have not approved this. I actually went in and told the student to fix some things on the previous review. Anyway, here's the status of the review that you can see at any time you need to. This is the fair that it's associated with currently. So to review this project, I simply need to click Review Project, and this will take me to the review screen. Now notice over in the left hand corner we have all the information about the project: title, student names, category, the student start date, the project start date, the project ID, and the teacher of that student listed here. Here we have review status. We can look at the history of this project to see who's reviewed it and the comments that they've made on it. If I click on that, it will take me to a history of everyone who's already reviewed that project and what they've done about it. So I can see here that the last review was done by the IRB educator and he approved it. It tells me who approved it. We can see that someone has told them to fix their rationale at one point. They addressed it and resolved it. The title of the project was sent back to be fixed. Sometimes you will see some things over here that say not addressed. Don't worry about that. As long as they are resolved on addressed or resolved on one side or the other, the project is okay. Because there's some things that the student can't actually fix that is actually done by the reviewer. So this is the review history. I can go all the way back to when the teacher reviewed it and view the teacher's comments. And the teacher in this case has simply approved the project. So she left no comments behind. Now to go back to my screen, my review screen, I will click on Previous Page. This takes me back to the review screen. Notice down here on the right hand side, if I scroll down a little bit, I am currently viewing the research plan. That is, by default, the research plan will appear here. If I want to look at some of the other forms of this project, I will click this big blue button here. It says Select Form for Review. And I can view any of the other projects. So I want to see the checklist for adult sponsor. I will click that. It will bring it up in my window here so I can see the actual form. We can see that this is marked correctly. It was signed by the teacher. And that's how we select different forms that we want to view and to check that everything's okay. I'm going to go back to the research plan. Now whenever I pull a form up over here on the right hand side, I'll have matching columns over here on the left hand side. So the first question in the research plan is the rationale. Over here that is mirrored. I just typed in some silly information here, but the students' answers will appear here. If you don't like the way a student answered or they need to revise something, I simply ask for revision. I'll type in my comment and hit submit. You don't have to tell the student how to go back and fix it. The system does that automatically. You simply need to type in your comment, such as check your spelling or something like that. So let's check your spelling and resubmit. So let's just do something like that. After I type a comment, I need to be sure that I click submit. Each comment, I will have to submit each comment individually. Once I've submitted a comment, you'll see it's listed there. If I decide that I don't really want to submit that comment, because if I submit a comment, it's not going to let me approve the project. So let's decided, well, the spelling's not that bad, let's just leave it alone. I can remove it by clicking the X. I will submit an update for the form comments, and now I'm able to approve the project if I need to. So to ask for a revision, simply click ask for revision on that particular question, and it will open the comment boxes. To remove it, we click the red X, and it forgets that we made the comment. Each comment, you will have to click submit if you want it to save for each and every comment. Most of your comments and review are going to be done on the research plan, and the reason is that every question on every form has been incorporated into the research plan. So if I'm looking at this project, I see my standard research plan with the rationale, hypothesis, materials, procedure, analysis. I can scroll down here, and we are mirrored to those questions down here to data analysis. Now if I scroll further down in the research plan, I'll see we have a human participant study section, which is required for human participant studies, and we see the questions relating to those forms. So if I keep scrolling down over here on the left hand side, I will see those as well. So here's our participant details, recruitment. If I want to comment on any of those, this is where I find them. Most of the comments, again, will be done on the research plan. For instance, if I select a different form to review, say checklist for adult sponsor, over here I don't have any way to make a comment on any of these questions. That's because these questions are filled out in a different way. If a checked box is wrong, it's not because a student checked a wrong box. It's because the student has a wrong form in their project. So we can't fix that by simply putting a comment here. If there's no comments here on a form that you want to comment on, there's one or two things to do. One, we go to the research plan and find the appropriate question. Or two, we have some general flags that we can put on a project. In this case, we see here we don't like the project title. I would find under my actions over here, flag the project title, or flag the project category, or flag the start date, or flag the end date, flag the locations, or flag the bibliography. So if you don't find what you're looking for over here to comment on, it'll be up here in the additional actions. So if I wanted to send the student back to fix the title, I would simply click flag project title, and we get a comment box similar to what we have. We leave our comment, fix your title, and save the changes. I'm going to go back to my research plan form because that's where we can view the human participant form right quick. This is the form that the IRB will actually be signing. I can view this. The last reviewer's answers will be recorded here. You can see that the other two reviewers have signed off on it. This is where I'll be signing since I right now logged in as the human risk evaluator. Now I can leave a general comment on this form, but I can't really ask the student to correct it. Again, if there's something wrong up here, we need to flag it using one of these tools, because the student can't edit the human participant form 4 directly. Let's say I want to approve this project. I will go over here to my actions buttons. We have several actions that I haven't discussed yet. Add forms. Maybe the project is missing a form. Let's say we decided the student needed a form 3 and doesn't have one. We can click add form, and we can select the form that needs to be added to their project. Once we select that form and save it, what it's going to do is send the student back to fill out that form, and then we'll have to resubmit to the SRC. If I add any of these forms here, it's going to send them back to the scientist step where they get their signatures. If I add a risk form 3, it's going to send them back to fill out the information for that and have it signed. If I select any forms that trigger or that are SRC triggers, like a vertebrate animal, potentially hazardous biological agents, or tissue form, it's going to send them back to the survey to restructure their project, because those are SRC critical forms. Anyway, the system will guide them to do that. You don't have to worry about telling them to go back to any particular step. I'm not going to add any forms in this case. We have our general project comments where we can say good job, or next time we can leave a note that next time maybe you need to check your spelling, but I'm going to go ahead and approve it, or something like that. If we've made some comments and we want the student to fix it, we won't be able to approve it. What we want to do is send it back for revision. And if I click that button, it will send it back in instructions to the student on how to fix their project, and then they will have to resubmit it, and I will get it again to re-review after they've answered the questions. There's also a button, recommend disqualification. This button does not automatically disqualify the student. It just flags it so that fair directors can make a decision on how they want to handle the issue, or possibly have some other people look at the project. Over here, notice I have a link to the ISEF rules. If you need to touch up the rules, your knowledge of the rules, let's say for human participant studies, I can click over in the right hand corner, human participant studies, and that brings up the section of the rule book that pertains to human participant studies. So I can read through that to refresh my memory on the ISEF rules. Once I'm done, I simply close that window and I'm back to my review screen. Over here on the left hand side, if I want to go back to my dashboard, I'm looking at this project and I decided, you know what, I don't want to review this, or I got a telephone call and got to run, I can't review this at this time. If I go over here to the left hand side, I can navigate back to my home page or back to my dashboard page. We've got some quick links over here to do that. In this case, though, I'm basically wanting to approve this project, so I'm going to click Approve Project. Once that happens, if I'm an IRB member, I need to answer some questions. Here, how would you rate the risk level of this project? Minimal risk or more than minimal risk, and I can see the answers that the other IRB members gave if somebody has reviewed it before me. We have 2 that say it's minimal risk, so I'm going to select minimal risk as well. Is a qualified scientist required? Both of the other guys answered no. I'm going to say no as well. Designated supervisor required? They said no. I'm going to say no as well. One quick thing, if you do tell the student that a qualified scientist is required, what we need to do before we approve this project is we need to go back and add a Form 2. Then it's not going to let us approve the project, but when it comes back it will have that Form 2, and then we can click that box. So if they're going to be required a qualified scientist, we want to make sure that they have a Form 2 with their project. Anyway, I go through and answer all of these questions. Once I am finished answering those questions, I'll simply choose my review date, and we can backdate these things if we have reviewed them prior with paper or paper version or whatever, so that's fine. Once we're done, I'll simply click Approve Project. It's going to tell me that the review status has been updated and the student will be notified. I don't have anything else sitting in my queue at the moment, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And now notice my projects that are needing review has moved to 0, and the ones that I have reviewed has moved to 1. So let's say that I've approved a project. I got to thinking about it later, and I said maybe I shouldn't have approved that. There was something I missed, something I forgot about. I can go back over here to my reviewed projects. I will find that project. Here it says they've been approved by all 3 members, and I can re-review it. I can open it again and then basically unapprove it and tell the student to fix things. So even after the review, if you've made a mistake, you'll be able to go back and re-review that project. That's all for the tutorial on IRB reviewing projects.